Hello everybody and welcome to the Sovereign Village Project. If this looks like a desert wasteland behind me, you wouldn't be far from wrong. This is our septic field and it was recently finished with its excavation, and the excavator did not do as good a job as I had hoped of setting aside the topsoil to layer back on, and so most of it got kind of mixed in at the bottom, and as a result we are left with this dry, crumbly, sad, lifeless dirt, not soil. We want soil because, like every single part of our property, this septic field is still a part of our farm and we are farming it. This is going to be grasses and clovers and high protein feed sources for our rabbits and our chickens, and we'll run them over in tractors. And so we want to improve the soil as quickly as we can, but we're also pretty limited on time, on money, and energy resources because we have so many projects. We're still finishing up the house, making things livable, making animal housing. We have much more urgent things, but we don't want this eroding. We don't want this dirt here. We want to get this fixed fast. And so it gives us a unique opportunity to try some easy fixes that are cheap, affordable, and fast. And so I just want to run through some of these because I think we're all going to at some point have some soil that needs remedied or improved. And if it's not presenting itself on your homestead project, we should almost be looking for these places, looking for places that need their soil fixed and fixing it. Because we need to be fixing the broken planet around us and regenerating it. So what we're doing here is, first off the bat, we're planting clover. Lots and lots of clover. It's just starting to come up here. We've got 3 kinds in the ground right now. We have many different colors, and we have white Dutch clover for the areas where we want it to be lower to the ground, like the edge of the wood line here where we don't want ticks to be coming up through the woods, so we want to keep that part low. But we planted our bigger ones, like our red clovers over here, so they'll get nice and tall, and that'll be a really good source of food for our rabbits and our chickens. And actually our humans as well. We like to use clover tops for lots of different recipes and as a garnish. They're very nutritious. So right away we planted clover, and that's not the only improver we planted. So clover is a nitrogen fixer. It can be tilled back in, or it just generally improves the soil. And there are other nitrogen fixers. We have a lot of comfrey we got from Permapastures Farm, which by the way you should check out on YouTube. We're not planting that right over the septic field because that has a deep taproot. That's really the strength of comfrey, is that it has this deep taproot, and we don't want that taproot reaching down and messing with our concrete or anything like that. So we're keeping that above and below the septic field. And dandelions actually are a huge one we're planting. My neighbors think I'm crazy because I'm always out gathering dandelion heads and doing the opposite of what my mom told me to do, which is I'm blowing those dandelions everywhere I can. Dandelions are wonderful for the soil. They're improvers of the soil. That's why we see them in all these suburban yards, because it's damaged soil and they're trying to fix it. And in addition, they're a great feed source for animals and humans, and they're usable in a trillion different dishes. Every part of the plant is edible and delicious. So that's the number one thing we're doing, is just getting easy to grow things into the ground right away. So far in my experience, things like clover, dandelion, comfrey, they grow really well in broken, bad soil because that's what they're designed to do. That's what their job is. And in addition to the nitrogen fixers and the dynamic accumulators, we're also just planting other things we want to exist here. It's a little bit beside the point, but we're planting things like plantain, different versions of plantain and chicory, and kind of like domesticated version of what grows really well in the wild. So we'll have regular foraging as well as kind of like an in-between sort of farmed foraging happening here in the yard. So that's our biggest fix that we're doing. We're not doing any kind of fertilizers or anything like that. We don't have any inputs like that on this farm. The only input that comes onto this farm from the outside, other than seeds, is hay and animal feed. That's it. That's all we are working with. And so, speaking of animal feed, the animals play a large role in improving our land for us. There's a few of them hanging out. They're trying out free ranging today, and they are not wanting to go back into the coop. But we have a tractor right here, and we are running this tractor up and down all over this dirt area. We actually have an electric fence poultry netting coming in soon, and so we're just going to net this whole area up and let them free range all over this and just poop. So basically what we're doing is we're bringing in chicken feed and hay, we're turning it into poop and manure and urine and dumping that on the land, but in a less manual fashion. We're letting the chickens do all of the work for us. So that will pretty dramatically and pretty quickly improve all of this soil here. In addition to that, we're using a lot of our scrap organic matter, like the hay that got spoiled in the move, it got rained on. So that's getting spread out to both protect the seed and to break down and to feed the soil and to become soil. And we're also bringing organic matter up from the forest line. A lot of it was bulldozed down. We're bringing it back up, as well as lots of piles of leaves and mulching them with a mower and making this layer of organic matter that will break down and create great soil. We're also staging our compost bins over this area. We're not going to use the compost here. It's too valuable. We have too much food production we're trying to jumpstart right now, so we can't afford to spread our compost out here. but as fast as we can make it, when we're done with it, there will be a lot of remnants left, and that will seep into the soil. You can already see it escaping the wire cage right there and seeping into the soil. So if we're going to put it somewhere, we might as well put it where it is really needed. So all of that is put up high on the hillside, and it will slide down to the hill. Same with the chickens. We're mainly focusing the chickens and the rabbits at the top of the hill, so everything, every time it rains, gets washed down and it spreads out all over this area. So I'll do an update video within a few weeks. I think within a few weeks, and then of course a few months, this will look dramatically different, and we will have a lush, beautiful green place that will just continue to improve and continue to start feeding us and our animals as well. So I hope you all have a good patch of bad soil to improve. It's really fun and really rewarding and really important. In the meantime, everybody stay safe, be well, and happy homesteading.